6:01. We've got a full board here. We've got a couple of people in the audience, so we should be ready to rock and roll. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Is Greg Frost there? Yeah, Greg Frost is there. If there's no additions or deletions, I'll go to members of the public first. Kendra?
All good here.
Thank you.
Ashley Garland's our second grade teacher.
Okay. Alan?
Yeah, Rich, I've got just a quick public comment, if that's okay.
Yeah, this is the time to do it, dude.
Okay. So I'm really bringing this up to try and make sure it gets on the agenda for a future meeting. A lot of parents want to come and express themselves on this matter. It's a bit of a sensitive one, so I'm not going to go too deep into it at the moment. I think I'll probably do it in writing first. And a bunch of us have been working on a sort of a statement of what's gone on. I'm talking about the music program, talking about that in about a week, we've got the music program, the former teacher returning. And it's a subject that we've brought up. A lot of parents actually have brought up.
Hey, Alan, I got to stop you there.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about a staff member, which it sounds like you do, we can't hear that. So you need to bring that first to the admin in the building and then to the superintendent. And then if you don't get satisfaction, then you can bring it to the board. We can't hear anything ahead of time. Yeah.
That's where I am now. It's
Okay,
been brought to both parties.
so hang on then. You need to write a letter to the superintendent and explain to the superintendent, then he'll bring it to the board and you can be here. He'll let you know when that is. But we can't do that in open session.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry, but it's what happens is they have rights to.
No, I get it. I've gone through the process for 2 years and it's a little frustrating.
No, I hear you. But it's, we want to make sure we respect everybody's rights and in that we don't, because if you talk to board members about something ahead of time and then it's brought to the board, those board members have to recuse themselves because they've got outside information. We're only allowed, we're kind of, at that point, we act like a quasi-judicial group. So we are supposed to just base our decision on the information presented at the meeting. And if we have a lot of outside noise, I shouldn't say noise, outside information, we can't do, then we would have to recuse ourselves. And if too many of us have to recuse ourselves, then we can't hear it and it pushes it on to another level. So.
That's not really accurate, just from a legal standpoint.
No, from a board training standpoint, Alan, I'm going to tell you, I don't know how many school board meetings you've been, training sessions you've been to, how many times you've had an education attorney talk to you, or a NEA attorney talk to you, or NEA person. But yeah, that's what we have to follow. So let's just leave it at that. Let's not argue about it, and we'll try to bring it through the proper channels. Okay, boss?
Fair.
Okay,
Thank you.
sorry about that.
That's all right.
There's a whole bunch of people now that joined, so I'm missing. Not only is my arm bad, my glasses are bad too. Who else do we have up there that's public? Danielle?
Kendra.
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay.
Kendra.
She was good.
Okay, Dana.
Dana?
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to follow up with Bob and see if maybe perhaps it's in his superintendent's report about the procedures putting in place for the privacy policy.
Yeah, I think that would be very appropriate. And Bob, could you just add that under your superintendents, please?
Yeah.
Do believe we talked about it the last meeting too, but thank you for the reminder.
Thank you.
And then Meredith is here. Dale? Dale?
All set. Just listening.
Okay. Did I get everybody in TV land? Going once, going twice. Staff in TV land. So I thought, Heather? Huh?
I was just wondering why she was there and here.
Heather, do you have anything for us as staff?
I would just like to advocate that decisions about IB be made before fall. Last meeting, you made a comment about hopefully by fall we'd have a decision, and we need to know what we're expected to teach before fall. So I
Okay.
would just advocate for that decision to be made sooner than later.
Okay, are you volunteering for the committee too?
No, I have 2 children to care for all summer. I'm not volunteering my time.
Okay, thank you. Anne Marie?
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. Ashley?
I'm all set, thank you, Rich.
Folks?
Are you doing staff or?
You were on staff.
Okay. I am going to echo exactly what Heather said. I think that it would be imperative to have a decision made prior to about IB, whether or not it's going to continue before we head back into school.
Okay, thank you. Next door neighbor?
Oh, I'm good, thank you.
Hi,
I miss you. I'm not sure where you're at.
where am I? I'm both.
Okay.
Staff and public.
So we'll let you go last.
Okay, I'll go last. Is that now?
Yeah. No, I think we did everybody.
I just, one, thank you all for the summer camp approval, and I wanted to,
Well,
ask-
we haven't approved it yet.
oh, okay, I thought at the last
No,
meeting. it
we're
was
having
approved,
a
but parameters
discussion on
weren't
it
set.
this meeting.
Okay, so with that, depending on how the discussion goes today is fine for this year, but looking forward to the next few years, I was wondering if we could put together a summer program committee, just like we're doing for these other programs, to possibly get sponsorships, get community involvement, so that we can have these programs run even through budget cuts and possible, you know, the looming consolidation discussions, just to make sure, since the community seems to have been really supportive of the camp, and so was the board, that we can think ahead. And so in March and February, when I have counselors saying, hey, are we doing this? I can say, yeah, we have this whole team of people and we have this program ready to go. And then, you know, or here's where we're at, I can let them know, so we're not any of us going into the summer blind. If that's possible, a committee would be great.
Yeah, the hard part about that is the timing, but we can definitely have that conversation.
Okay.
We will add, so we're gonna have a summer camp discussion under old business.
Right,
Okay.
and that's a discussion with the board members only.
Right.
Right, okay.
Well, board and staff,
Okay, so
because we've asked for a recommendation from the staff.
okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, we've asked for a recommendation from the administration.
Okay, great. So just the administrative staff, not staff.
Right.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will acknowledge your letter down in the correspondence.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. I think I've covered everybody.
There was a couple of people, Chris Mays and Rebecca McGrail, that just popped on.
Okay, Rebecca or Chris, do you have anything for public before we move on?
I'm all set. Thanks,
Hey, Chris, thanks for that increase in the budget.
No problem.
Okay, it was appreciated. Rebecca?
I'm all set, thanks.
Okay.
Can I interrupt? I apologize. Is your protocol that you only have public comment in the beginning and you don't do public comment when these items come up?
Right.
Okay, so I apologize. I was thinking that I was gonna do it when the IB came up. Dee Dee Driller, and I was just gonna echo what
I'm sorry.
Bridget and Heather said.
I'm sorry.
Dee Dee Driller, I signed in.
Oh, no, that's who you are.
Yes.
No, okay, I thought you were talking about somebody
Oh,
else.
no, but I apologize, because I'm out of sequence, and
No,
I
that's
was
fine.
thinking that you did it when the item came on. But I was gonna echo what Heather and Bridget had just mentioned, that having a program change, if you're considering a program change, it would be much better to have it done prior to the beginning of school planning, which would be before the fall.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
I apologize for.
No, that's
coming in
fine.
late.
No, because we went back to public, so we can go back to
Perfect, thank goodness.
staff.
Hadley just popped on too, if you
Who?
still want to. Hadley King, she's a parent.
Okay, Hadley?
Hi, how are you?
Good, we were just finishing up on comments, so we're gonna let you close it out if you have anything, or if you just want, we're just here to see what's happening, that's fine too.
I guess I was just hoping to find out more about finalizing dates for the summer camp.
Okay, we're gonna have a discussion about that under old business shortly here.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming. So, Greg Frost,
Hello, sir.
how are you, buddy? Hey, Dover roof.
Yes, sir. So,
We got a bunch of estimates.
Yep, I got you the final with all three of the quotes in there. You can see that it's still Walker Industries, and it does not include the sidewalls there, so that should be good.
Okay, so what's your recommendation?
I would recommend that we do the other half of the roof with Walker Industries.
Okay, and what about the metal?
I think we're okay on that, Rich. I mean, it's vertical. You know, it's almost vertical metal. So I don't think that we're in any. You know, I don't think that that's the cause of any of our issues that we've had in the past couple of years. That's for sure.
Okay, because you do know that Chris Mays got us a huge increase in our budget.
Well, I mean, we can make that move if you so would like to spend some of the reformer increase.
Well, I didn't know if the reformer was covering that for us or not. So, hey, folks, we have a decision to make. We did budget for the roof for next year, and that was approved. We're not quite at 30 days, but I haven't heard any recalls on the budget. So we're looking at about $430,000. We have, so that went out to 3 bids, so that covers us.
So Rich, it came in at $349,541.50.
Oh, this one here says 426,257.
Yeah, that included the almost 80,000 to do the side panel.
Oh, I'm sorry. So we're even better shape.
Yes, we're in even better shape. Yes, sir.
Give me that number again, please.
349,541.50.
Okay, so we're looking to spend $349,541.50, and that was the best price. And they actually got you 3 quotes, correct?
Yep. Yeah, we have Tech Roofing Services of $380 and R&H Roofing of $460.
Okay, and then everybody was happy with Walker last year. They took care of any issues that arose when we had leaks.
Yep.
Oh, is Greg not?
Yeah, to my knowledge, yes. I was thinking maybe Tracy wanted.
Oh, I was asking you, but
sorry. Yeah, I mean everything that I had with them, they were solid. They followed up. We had a couple of issues mid-year, and they sent crews right up and took care of it. And we never received a bill for any of it, so the warranty held true. And yeah, I don't have a concern moving forward with them.
Okay, does anybody have a question? You good?
I'm good.
Meredith?
I think I'm good.
Okay. Kate?
She thumbs up.
Okay, I can't see that far thing. Okay, so we've got a price, and this will allow us to get it done before school, unlike last year. I think last year we were late, weren't we?
Rain.
Rain.
Yeah.
But I mean, the school's in session, weren't we?
Yeah.
So school.
Okay, so hopefully this will be better. So, anybody want to make a motion and spend a lot of money?
Can I ask one quick question?
Yeah. That's what we're having.
I missed the last meeting about the vertical siding. Without doing the vertical siding, are we still going to get the same warranty? Are they going to be able to flash it the same?
Yeah. They were just saying that, like, if we ended up doing the vertical siding in, say, the next 2 or 3 years or even 5 years, some of the work would be redundant then, where they would have to pull some of the flashing to do it to then reinstall.
Behind, okay.
Over.
Goes.
Doesn't it go over the?
No, I think
It's over in some and under in others. So.
Well, because it's the roof comes
The top
down.
and the bottom,
so-
basically.
Oh, all right. Yeah, because I was thinking about the bottom.
Yeah, the bottom is
But-
all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the reality is though, last year we did the higher spots. We did the upper. So really, I think the work was going to be a little redundant, anyways. I think we're okay, and I think that
as long as those seams are covered.
Again, they're warrantying it, so
All right.
I mean, it'd be pretty obvious. And again, the metal is more of a is more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
Probably gets more wind abuse than.
yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody like to make a motion?
Was the amount the 349, 541.50?
You got it.
I would like to make a motion to move forward with replacing the roof on the Dover School building for the amount of $349, 41. I'm sorry, let me restart that. $349,541.50.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second to that motion?
I can second it.
Meredith seconds it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. Greg, talk to us about a boiler.
Great. Yeah. So the Dover boilers, we put that out. We met
Not
with,
over.
sorry, Wardsboro boilers, those two. Sorry, I was at Dover today talking boilers. I'm sorry. So yeah, the Wardsboro boilers, we got a quote from ARC Mechanical, a quote from Alliance, and a quote from Kingsley. And Nidos was not interested in the project. They were kind of all over the place. Alliance came in the lowest. We do all of our HVAC work with Alliance, so I'm confident in their ability to get it done. They've done a boiler project, a couple of ERV projects, reheat coils. We've done some really big contracts with them in West River, so I feel like we work well with them, and I think we would be good to move forward there at the amount of $39,851.61.
Okay. Any discussion from anybody?
And did we end up going with the most, because we had talked about a couple different variations about going with the most economical long-term plan, like instead of like doing one part and then doing another part in a couple of years, just doing it all do it all.
Yep, this is both boilers.
Okay, thank you.
You guys all set?
No, I think if, sounds like Greg's done the due diligence here, if we already have a relationship with these people.
Is that
Here are the three estimates here. Here you go. So Greg, I have just one quick question because it's something I've been always looked at in bids. You got Kingsley at 63, you got ARC at 89.
Yep.
And you got these guys at 40, which is, like kind of 2/3 of the next closest bid.
Yep.
Is there something missing somewhere? That's just what scares me sometimes.
We initially thought that Alliance was replacing one of the pumps, the circulation pumps. So the gentleman from Kingsley included one circ pump. They're only about like $8 to $10 grand to put in. So even if you take that off, Kingsley comes down in the mid 50s, and ARC, they bid two VFDs, which were not anything we thought we were putting in. And even the higher end VFDs, that would only be maybe 25,000, in the bid. That they just came in higher. They also bid a different boiler. They didn't do the HB Smiths. So.
And what was the bid package? Was it HB Smith, and was it specific to what was going to be done?
Yeah, it was removed, put in. I met with all the vendors and talked them through the same thing. And I was under the impression that we were doing one of the circulator pumps, but they're both in fine shape. And actually in a meeting today with Efficiency Vermont, they said based on the load there that VFDs would not, like, they wouldn't even pay for themselves based on what they would save you, because the heat, there's not that much heat there. They're only going through like 2,700 gallons a year. And given the cost of VFDs, she was like, I don't think those would even make up for themselves and what they would drive the cost up. So I think that's where you see the little bit of a bump. I actually think Kingsley's pretty close to what Alliance would be if you took their one circulator pump out.
Because I noticed too, in the Kingsley includes a backflow preventer, and I don't see that on the Alliance. And
Oh, I'll check.
his
check
said
in
that
there.
there's not one installed at this time, and I think, I'm actually surprised during one of the sanitary surveys that didn't get.
There is one there, yeah. It just passed the sanitary survey this year.
But are we sure there's one there? Because,
100%.
Okay.
Yep.
So I don't know
Yep.
why he says there isn't.
Yeah, is that Kingsley?
Yeah.
That is the one Dave met with them. I didn't get a chance to meet with them, and I think Dave didn't think there was one there. But when we did the sanitary surveys, Sarah Belaski was pretty thorough, and that one was there, and it was even had been inspected. So, and again, like if we ended up adding one, I can't imagine it would be a huge cost.
Well, that's why I'm wondering, are we really comparing apples to apples or are we not? And
Basically, my goal was to try to get people to give us quotes on boilers. If you would like me to go back and talk to Kingsley about removing the circ pump and the backflow preventer to make sure that we're on an apples to apples thing.
well, because like Alliance excludes all line voltage electrical.
That's just generic. They put in there for everything. They had that in there when they sent us a $300,000 quote for the ERV project in Townsend, but they do it all.
Because this, like Kingsley 5,800, almost 6,000 of his is an electrician.
No, that was going to be additional to it, to the 63. That was Dave wanted to get an electrician in there to redo all the lighting in the boiler room in there.
Okay. I guess I got mine kind of the flesh.
Yeah, I mean, my thought was Rich, at 63, even if it's a $20,000 pump, they're still at 43 on two boilers. The other one at like 86. If they're 20,000 a pump, you take 40 off the other one, and you're still above Alliance.
Yeah, but you're a lot closer between Kingsley and Alliance, and Kingsley's more local. They're in Wilmington versus Alliance. We pay them. Don't we have a huge fee to pay them every time they come down to service something? Because don't we have to pay mileage?
Yeah, we do. We do pay them a fair amount of money.
If Kingsley came along and maybe we would save it in a couple years of service. I just don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Well, some of what Alliance does, Kingsley doesn't. I don't know that they do automated BMS systems.
Do we have that in Wardsboro?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I'm a little concerned that we may be missing something, but if you're happy with Alliance, I'm okay. You folks all set?
I kind of have similar. It just seems like they're not the same. They're not the same invoice.
They're not the same quote.
They're not quoting the same.
Right,
and then this one, and then you said that this one includes the lighting, but it's not on the contract.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, so do we need the lighting?
Well, no, that was an additional. So I thought he was saying that the 5,800 was part of his bid, but it isn't.
And that's not something that we need, or it's not something.
No, we can replace the lighting in there for a lot less than 5,800. Dave had just met with them and said, "Oh, I had them quote wiring up all new lights in there to make it better lit." And I mean, I think we could just work on. There's some bulbs in there. They're just like single bulbs, but you could just swap those fixtures out with a different fixture for a lot less than 5,800.
And do we usually have the company that installs it service it as well? And
A lot of
is that
times,
what you're saying?
a lot of times you do.
And then what's the price for each of the service?
Well, it's usually there's a service contract, but how do you deal with that now? We used to have a service contract.
We have annual. We have a mechanical and controls annual service contracts with Alliance. They come in and check all the controls and make sure all the valves are working and the controllers are functioning twice a year. And they come in once a year and they change out all the filters and clean our boilers in the fall.
So that's who we already use.
You're right, that's who he's using now.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, I know when Alliance comes, if you look at their bills, they charge you for mileage and travel.
So can we get like an estimate on service for each of these?
Well, he knows what it is, but.
Oh, okay.
The other, so Greg, not to beat a dead horse again, because it's not, I mean, it's 10% of what the roof is, but, I guess my only thought is if we didn't really give them specs and we just said, hey, give us a furnace price, you know, could we've gotten a better price from somebody else if everybody was comparing apples to apples? And at least like with the roof, you know, it was because Duralast was helping us with that, because we identified the product. We're pretty sure they were apples to apples. And that's just my only concern, but I don't know if it's worth it.
I mean, I'm looking at the Kingsley right now, and literally the only thing different is the circulator and the RPZ backflow preventer. But the connection of the flues, that, I mean, you have to, that there's no boiler. You can connect oil lines. Everyone's doing oil lighters, fill oilers, bleed out system, start. That's on there. 2 BB14A boilers to 19 HE. Those are there. So I mean, the Kingsley one is pretty close, like I said, and the way I look at it is, if you were at say $2,500 for a backflow preventer and even $20,000 for a circulator pump, which is way more than what we paid for them in the past, you're still at $50,000. You know, at $40,000 on the button, so you're still right there.
Right, but again, my other problem is because I don't know what he's picking for a boiler. You know, are his boilers better? I don't, you know, I have an HB Smith and I like them. I just, you know, I don't know. So,
yeah, the ones that are in there are an HB Smith. This is the new version of the old one that's in there. Yeah, I've always had good luck with HB Smiths. They, for a long time, anyways, I'm not sure if they still are, but they were made in Springfield, Mass. Last I knew.
Well, we won't hold that against them, but.
Fair enough.
Isn't there something that they're supposed to be made in Vermont or something?
I don't know that there's a boiler made in Vermont.
Oh, okay.
Heck, half of the people that do the wood chip systems in Vermont buy their chips out of state.
Okay, so I guess, you know, whatever y'all want to do.
I will be very clear. I'm happy to call back Kingsley and say, hey, can you resend this without the circ pump and without the backflow preventer? And I'm happy to reach back out to ARC and say, can you give it to me with just your 2 Pure Pro, which is just the whatever boiler they sell equivalent. I do not mind. You will not offend me at all.
Yeah, but the problem is, you know, these are made public. So it's very easy for somebody, and this, you know, because I always like when people want to get pricing, I try to tell, if I'm only going to somebody to get a price, I tell them, don't give me the price you're going to bid, give me a budgeting number. And, you know, all they got to do is go on TV now, and the ARC could say, oh, wow, Alliance was at $39,851. I'm going to come in at $38 just so I get the job. And, you know, and that's not fair to Alliance. And, I mean, with the size of the job, I mean, I'm just wondering if we should have maybe not just said, tell us what you want for a boiler, but maybe we should have just spec'd, you know, put down in our specs what we wanted. And then we could have, you know, that way, even if they like given us the boiler price, you know, we could just see, and maybe there's a difference. Somebody, you know, maybe Alliance buys a lot more boilers and they get a better price. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Understood.
So yeah, but
I think I think in the future, if we're this close to 40, we should probably just write the spec. Is what we're learning here, I guess, is what I would say.
Yeah, but then again, you know, do you write the spec for everything? Like if we want to get 10 new chairs, but again, those don't have to be brought before the board. So, but anyways, I'm the only one talking. So, what does the rest of the board think? Somebody can definitely make a motion.
I'm a little curious about the Kingsley is replace air scoop, and I don't see that on the Alliance at all. I don't know what an air scoop is, so maybe it's irrelevant. But
I think it's just the fresh air scoop that comes into the, and I'd be willing to bet that it comes on the boiler, and they're just putting the new one on it.
Okay.
It's just, I'm sure it's the air in.
So Greg, based on what you know the needs are for the building, does the Alliance quote hit all of the needs that the building has?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
If there was one complaint I would say I have with Alliance is their quotes sometimes are not as thorough as I wish they were. They gave me a quote similar to this for a $330,000 replacement of 3 ERVs at Townsend.
Do they ever come back with hidden fees, or does this quote include like any charges that we would face for travel time or things like that? Like,
no,
is it exclusive or?
Nope. They've been good. I mean, there was at one point through the Townsend job where we ended up not having to do some duct smokes in boilers, and it saved a bunch of money because we weren't moving the number of CFM to require them. And so they turned around and actually replaced, I think it was like 7 zone valves in lieu of the money that we saved because, you know, we had already paid them. And so they took care of us on that other end of things. So the tough thing with them has been their service when we call them, again, because mostly they're an hour away, is you eat an hour there, an hour back when you make a service call. And so I've been working really hard with my crews in my buildings to say, hey, let's identify the problem and tell them, hey, I have X problem, right? Like I have this pump is down. I need you to come with a pump and replace it. So that way we're not having to absorb the that travel twice, basically, once to come tell us what it is and then once to then do it. So
Thank you.
Dwight just came in.
Cool, so we can do this all over again. Hey Dwight, so what we have is we have 3 proposals. We have a recommendation from Greg. Greg is very comfortable with Alliance. They are the cheaper bid. As far as Greg's assuring us is that everything we need is in the Alliance bid. Even though the Kingsley bid may be really close, Alliance does have a lot of familiarity with the building. So it's up to somebody would have to make a motion if you want to move with one of these. If not, we would need to ask Greg to go back and find out whatever it is you all aren't comfortable with this unless you're comfortable with it.
I'll make a motion to move forward with the Alliance quote in the amount of $39,851.61.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, so Eli seconds it. So discussion. Is there any more discussion, or have we pretty much beat it up?
Did he talk about like warranty work? Like how they are on warranty work?
Greg, can you just answer that?
yeah, I mean, in general, whenever we've had anything, they come and they take great care of it. The projects that we've done, we've had things go that were manufacturer defect, and they came down, they took care of it, and they even took care of the manufacturer defect. There was another project we did at Leland and Gray where they even took care of the Efficiency Vermont writing the grant and getting us the reimbursement for that. So no, they really have been solid. They're, like I said, the only issue has been with some of the service call stuff, but all in all, when we've done bid projects with them like this, they've been right on. When things go wrong, they make it work. And so that I guess for me is what I find that I am comfortable that they know the building, and B, they have been solid to work with.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Any other comments, questions? Y'all ready to vote? Y'all ready to vote? All those in favor of moving forward with Alliance for the 2 boiler replacement at the Wardsboro building for $39,851.61, say aye.
Aye.
Appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. Thank you very much, Greg. I think we're all set with you, boss.
Thank you. Okay.
Appreciate it. Good job.
Yep. Have a good.
So moving on at the last meeting, we had formation of committees. So we had 3 committees we talked about, maybe a 4th one. We talked about the IB committee, so that got brought up to us at the last meeting before we had to set the agenda. So we put it on the agenda for the annual meeting, and it wasn't. Kate and I met with Tracy before the annual meeting, and we walked away from that a little more confused. So we asked at the annual meeting that be put off and that we have a discussion about that and form a committee. One of the questions that we put on for a former board member to vote for the budget was, the future of the district. So on top of what the state is looking at for class size and staffing and administration and buildings, so we thought I think the question was all some or none. Do we want to have, I forget the questions right here. Consolidating none, some, or all the grades into one building, discussion on staffing for the future, and then we had any other topics that they would like to come up or be brought up, and we also had the future of the reserve fund. There had been some a few years ago there, and I think Alan Block had talked about this. There had been some talk. The state was looking at the reserve money was theirs, and they didn't like the schools having it. But I think from a couple conversations I had with a member of the Ed committee in the House was that was not exactly why the conversation was brought up, and that I think the state understands reserve funds, because obviously the state has reserve funds. They have rainy day funds, and they have money that they put aside. But I still think it's a good thing to look at, just to make sure that we don't have an excess amount, so it looks like the state can say, hey, you got too much money, let's take it from you. So we did ask at the last meeting to have, at least for the IB, we wanted to kind of move that one forward, obviously, as was mentioned earlier, so the staff knows what's going on. The future of the district is not something that has to be done right away, that one, but I would like to start that, because there is going to be some changes coming, and how do we best position ourselves to protect the good stuff that we have and not be forced into situations that are not good. And then the reserve fund is just so that we don't leave too much money on the table for somebody else to take. So we'll start with the IB committee. Formation, charge, and guardrails. So formation, I think you were getting calls on that. Did you? I had one person respond who asked me on it. And how many do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have some teachers that will do it, but it's really hard for them to come back in the summer because it's their time. So if we can, and
Summer's a good time for the board too to have off.
Oh, great, yeah. Perfect. So,
but then we can't get it done before school starts, so it's kind of a.
So we can get it done before the end of June. I feel like we can do it.
Well, it's got to be something that the whole committee can do. Okay,
but yes, I did.
Do you have? What do you have for people to help, like parents?
Do you want to take one?
So
I made
you can just.
little cheat sheet.
Okay.
I know how to paper copies of things.
I just didn't want to have a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, too bad. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You don't have to take it. I can just read you.
No, that's fine. Okay, so you have a parent, you have parent, you have a community member, and you have a parent, a lot of parents, director of curriculum, IB, you got a couple IB people, and 2 teachers from Deerfield Elementary School to be determined. So even wouldn't have to assign them, we could just leave 2 slots and you can figure it out. Okay. You did timeline and urgency too. But anyways, what do we want to do for a committee? So we did say that IB was not something that just the board did or the staff did. And it was something that we brought to the voters because we spent, I think, $100,000 or $200,000 to start IB. Oh, can we just pass them around, guys? I'm sorry.
Oh.
I thought they were going to go around.
I didn't know.
So I think we should definitely, we don't really have any communities. Oh yeah, we do have one community member.
3 parents.
3 parents. Well,
Janet's
Renee
there.
would be a community member because is she a
She
teacher?
doesn't live in Dover, if that's, no,
Oh.
but she is she'll be the director of curriculum and instruction next year, and she's also taught
At
IB.
the WCSU.
Mhm.
Okay.
She's also taught IB, and she is right now the coordinator of the EL program,
So these are parents that are in the district, the 3 parents.
yes.
Okay, and Dale's in the district. And Amanda,
She is a teacher at Wardsboro, but she's also taught IB,
okay,
and she's a
Yeah.
parent.
okay. And I also had Mark Schaubert because he'd attended all the meetings when we originally did IB with Bill. So, I mean, I don't, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9's a pretty big committee, but I mean, it's definitely doable. Or we can just, there's 3 parents, we could ask 1 parent, we could ask 2, out of the 3 parents that we get 2 parents.
Does 9 include me? Just asking.
Oh, you know what, and you didn't put yourself
Or
down.
board member. Well, I mean, mine was, I
Yeah,
just
or
assumed,
board
I just
members,
assumed
so that
me.
is a pretty big committee. So if we did 2 parents, 2 staff, 2 parents, 2 staff, 2 parents, 2 staff, we did admin, 2 board, 2, 4, 6, 7. And then 2 community members. So how does this sound, folks? If we could have a 9-member, yep, go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking I can be the board member and Alan cannot be on it, unless you think that's okay for us both to be on it.
Well, hang on a second.
Okay,
Let's,
that was- I was
let's
just
not,
thinking
we're
of
not
getting better
picking, we're
prepared.
not picking people yet. We're picking representation, okay?
Okay.
So if we did a 9-member group, we could do 2 parents, 2 staff, an administrator, 2 board members, and 2 community members.
Okay.
So that would give us 9. And then if, as long as there was like 6 of them meeting, it's, not everybody's gonna make every meeting. How does that sound to folks for the makeup of a group? Hey, guys? How does that sound to the board?
That sounds good to me.
Meredith,
That sounds good.
Mike, Dwight, and Kate?
That sounds good. I feel like when you guys did transportation committee years ago, you had 9 or 11 or something like that. So, and like you said, not every person has to be at every meeting. So as long as you have a good representation.
Okay.
That works.
Dwight,
Yeah, I would agree with that. That sounds good.
are you okay with that? Okay, so this is where it gets kind of funny in a small community, is that if you picked Dale, she's saying she's an EL coach for the SU, so that's kind of a staff member, but that's not really the staff member that we want. So I would put her in the parent bucket. Does anybody disagree with that? And then Ken.
I don't think she can take both, you know what I mean, like, she's still gonna use both hats when she's in the.
Yeah, but we're picking for the buckets, so.
I see what you're saying.
And she's not, and when I'm thinking staff, I'm thinking more the building staff.
Yeah, okay,
Because they're
I
the ones that
appreciate
are
that, yeah.
eating, sleeping,
Yeah.
doing it.
I love that.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, I think we need to keep it that it's 2 staff from here. So Dale can be in the parent bucket, Kendra can be in the parent bucket, Alan can definitely be in the parent bucket. Amanda is a teacher in Wardsboro, but she is a community member. Does she live in Dover or Wardsboro?
Wardsboro.
Wardsboro, okay. But she does have experience in IB. And then Janet is a parent, and then Renee is director of curriculum. See, the reason I don't usually include admin or like SU staff is because they're more like, they're more providing information, and they're being asked in a different bucket, but I think we're okay. I don't see that. I don't see Renee as being. I see Renee as being a resource and maybe not a member, because I don't know what bucket she fills.
Well, she could fill admin too, like if you changed it to ad. I just feel like to have her would be very valuable because first of all, she knows the IB curriculum. She's taught it before. She's been a coordinator before, and she is our current EL coordinator. So she understands what we have to do here. Like she would be super valuable to help other people who may not understand what the teachers in this building are dealing with. She has a different perspective. And if you changed it to one teacher in this building and 2 admin, she could fill that bucket.
But it was, to me, it was.
Or you could just do 2 admin.
Yeah, it was the teachers that brought it to us, so I'd like to allow 2 teachers. But if you also don't think, I tell you what, why don't we give you the ability to bring to the group 2 people?
Okay.
Okay? And if the staff is okay with one of them, if she would represent one of them and just one staff member, but I think that should be a staff decision.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
I just think that, is everybody on board okay with that? Because it was the staff here, not the staff at SU that brought it to us. So we'll let them have the option of that. I see head shaking. How about on TV Land? Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Okay, and I think Kate's shaking her head. Are you guys okay with that?
I think it sounds reasonable to have someone who is an expert in both EL and IB to weigh in. Clearly, we at Dover School have years of experience with IB and the EL is new. So having Renee's input, I think, would be extremely valuable.
Okay, but do you think the staff will be okay then if they took one of the staff's positions?
I can't speak for that, but I think.
How would you feel? Let me ask you directly.
You're asking me that,
Yeah.
and I'm answering you. I can't speak for them.
No, I'm asking you to speak for yourself, not for the staff.
Thank you. I misheard you.
Okay.
Yes, I would be fine with that.
Okay. Would you be fine with that? Not speaking for the staff, just you. And if you're not, that's fine. You don't even have to answer. We're just trying to give a committee that will make the staff happy.
Yeah.
So
My only comment was, I just wrote that your buckets may have to change depending upon the expertises that you're working with.
Well, again, the expertise can come in as
counsel.
Right. They don't have to be a member of the committee, and sometimes people are better at that because they don't want to influence a committee. They want to feel like a neutral party. That was my point I was trying to make earlier. Heather and whoever else is on the staff on there.
Ashley, Annie.
Yeah, do you have any thoughts? And again, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to, but just to kind of help us to try to make a committee that's fair.
I think Renee is a very smart resource member of the committee, and I, as a staff member, would be okay with one staff and Renee. Yeah.
Okay. Who else do we have?
Ashley and Annie.
Ashley and Annie, please. If you want. And again, you can say no.
I agree with what Bridget and Heather have said.
Okay.
And I as well. I think that would be wise to have Renee and then one staff member.
Okay, so do we do Renee? Is everybody good with that then? Renee and so let's just do this though. If tomorrow all the staff is upset about it or a majority of them and we need to rethink that, just let us know.
Will do.
Okay.
You did hear from a majority of them. Also.
No, I know, but again, we're also putting them on the spot. We're not giving them time to
100%.
think about
Yep.
it,
I'll
which
check
isn't
in.
fair either. So, okay, so we're gonna have 2 staff, and we're gonna allow Renee to represent one of the staff positions. We have 2 parents, and we have 1, 2, 3. We have like 4 that volunteered. so here's what has always been a little bit of an issue. Parents can also fill community member spots, but sometimes it's good to have a person that doesn't have a child in the school, or somebody that formerly had a child in the school or the program. But I only have one community member who was interested.
Well, can Amanda fill that committee? Because she doesn't have
And she's not really in the Dover community, but she does get to vote. So I guess if nobody else volunteered, I would be good with that. But then are we weighing it too much towards staff? Because then you would have, the staff would have more votes than the rest of the group. I mean, the staff could just push
Is Mark
everything.
interested?
Yeah, Mark requested. He told me
Okay.
after the meeting the other day.
Oh, so that's the only community member we have. You're
Right.
saying? Okay.
Right. And we could also run short one community member.
Mhm.
So let's hold off on that for now. So we have,
Amanda fits every bucket, I guess.
yeah.
She's a parent, she's
Except for
staff, she's-
community member, because she's not. Oh well, is it community member from both? It's River Valley, so it is a community member.
Right. Yeah, but again, it was Dover was the program is in the Dover building.
Right.
So I would give preference to a Dover community member, because they also funded the formation of it,
Mhm.
and it wasn't cheap. We put a lot of resources into getting it here, and so two staff members, two board. So on the board, I would really like to see one board member from each side of the world. And the big reason is that when we first formed River Valleys, we were thinking of, there was talk, pardon?
I was just saying both of our last names are already on this list.
Oh, yeah. I think we were having, there was talk about doing IB in both buildings, and we purposely chose not to, and you guys have heard me say this before, because we wanted to make it more difficult for the state in their infinite wisdom to look at Dover and Wardsboro and see they're this far apart on the map and say, oh, well, you've got two buildings, you've got less than 100 students, why aren't we in one building? Which may be coming, or maybe that there'll be no buildings in either town. But so we had the two separate curriculums, but there is a possibility that at some point in the future we may want to have just one curriculum or one specialty. So I think it would be good for a board member from each of the towns to be on there. So luckily tonight we have all the board members, so if you all want to usually committees are appointed by the chair, so we will, if you guys can let me know who you want in there, we will work on that. I think the two parents, usually in the parents we throw hats, we throw names in a hat and pull out two parents' names. So anybody has a problem with that? Because I think all the parents are pretty equally deserving. And if Alan and Meredith happen to get pulled, I guess that's luck of the draw. And then you'll cover the administration and pardon?
No, if we're both on it, yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, and since again we really only have one community member that's not a staff member, why don't we see if there's, we'll give one last ditch effort and see if there's anybody else from the community that wants to be involved, who is not a parent and is not a staff member. And then if not, I guess, nobody cared that much, and we'll put Amanda on as a community member, especially being a former
Hey,
IT
Rich.
teacher.
It's Danielle Salway.
Yeah, Danielle.
What about for community? Can you hear me?
Yeah, but Danielle, this is for board discussion, not for public discussion. Sorry.
Okay.
So, if you guys want, we can put it out and see if there's anybody else that's interested, and if not, we can fill it with one of the other people who didn't get to fill the spot, from their respective kind of bucket. Are people okay with that?
Yep.
You guys good on that in TV land? Where's Dwight?
He's underneath that window that's.
Oh.
I'm here.
You
I'm
all-
listening. Sounds good.
Okay, cool. So we have a group. So why don't we give everybody, because can you do one more just thing in your newsletter for a community member?
Sure.
And we'll see if we can maybe ask the newspaper to put something out, and we'll make the drop dead date as Monday. So people need to apply by Monday. You're going to check who you're going to have for the staff member, 1, and then 2, if the staff members are good with using Renee is not of council, but more of a member of the committee.
Okay.
And if there's a lot of pushback and you need to, and they do want to have 2 in the building members, then, just get me names.
Will do.
Okay, and if there's multiple ones, you can just give it to us and we'll pick a name.
Okay.
Okay, and then I've got the 1 community member, and you guys let me know on the board who wants to do it, 1 for each, hopefully. Are we good with the makeup of the committee and the people?
Yes.
Okay, then I think what we should do is we will have our next meeting, that's in 2 weeks. Yeah, we'll be able to put it together at the next meeting, and it'll be in Wardsboro, but we'll announce the committee in Wardsboro. We'll know ahead of time. Okay. Cool. So the next thing we need to do is timeline and urgency. So that's kind of the formation. The charge will be to see if we should continue offering IB at the Dover building. I think that's an easy charge. And the pros and cons. I don't think I want a recommendation, yes or no, but I'd like to see a list of pros and cons that could be discussed with the public. Is everybody good with that? Would be the charge. Kate, Dwight?
So let me just state that really clearly. So the charge of this committee is not to come back and say whether or not we should do the IB program within the community, but the charge of the committee is to give a list of pros for having it and a list of cons.
Yeah, because then, we're giving it to we're going to ask the public to vote on it, the community, the voters. So we come with a recommendation to approve the budget, but on a lot of our other articles like this, we present the information to the voters and ask them what their thoughts are. So that may be a little bit of a difference. Do you all want to do it? I guess it's up to you all. Do you all want to have them make a recommendation and bring to the voters on whether or not to maintain it? Or do you want to just have the pros and cons to present to the voters and let the voters decide? Good question. And we can also think on it a little bit and discuss it at the next
meeting?
Yeah, we can make that decision at the next meeting so everybody can think on it. If that's what you want, or if you guys feel pretty strongly, either way. And I could go, I don't really have a horse in the race on that. I could go either way. But they would make a recommendation to the board, not to the community. The board is the one that would present it to the community then. And would the board be comfortable presenting to the community an opinion?
I guess it depends on how the committee goes.
Well,
Right?
so does that mean it depends on what the committee brings back? Because we're going to say...
It depends on whether the committee comes back with a unified decision.
Okay. How about the charge of the committee is come back to the board to convince the board?
And then the board can.
The board will the board gets the final decision. Well, the board's the one that's going to present it to the voters.
But there again, what if the committee is split?
Then, if the committee is split, that it's gonna be up to the board
Okay, that makes more sense.
and the board will present it. And I think that's why I like the pros and cons better, because
I do too.
unless it's a unanimous decision, because we would go to the voters and say, hey, look, that didn't work. We asked the committee to, we asked the committee to give us pros and cons, and, maybe the pros outweighed the cons.
Right.
Maybe if it's a unanimous decision, the committee comes back to the board, says unanimously, we want to keep it for a year. Then it's easier for us to present it, and then they can talk to us, and then the committee needs to convince us, and then we would prepare to bring it to the voters.
I like that open-endedness of it, like depends like how the committee goes. I like that. I like how that feels.
Okay, is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Kate and Dwight?
Yeah, so you're charging the committee with being curious, open-minded learners.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Wanderers.
Wanderers, is that one of the IB things?
Open-minded.
Open-minded? Kate, did you know that?
I did not. That just, yeah.
See how much IB has influenced the board? And then the guardrails is, I just think that we need to just set some guardrails because, it is strictly on the IB in the Dover building. I think if they were to come back and say we want IB in the Wardsboro building, that's outside the guardrails. I think if they come back and say we want to do away with EL, that's outside of the guardrails because that's an SU initiative. And I think that, I think those are really the only guardrails. And then the other guardrail is, are they coming back with do they need a unanimous decision? I don't believe so. But are they coming back with a recommendation and that will be decided at the next meeting too, so.
I like that.
Okay. So the last question that came up, and I just for y'all to think about it, we won't have a lot of discussion because I did not get a chance to look at it. A lot of times the chair, when they appoint a committee, they can either appoint a chair or they can let the committee organize itself. Sometimes it's good to have when we have appointed chairs in the past, just so that we make sure we have a strong person who's going to make the meetings and make sure things happen properly. And so just think about that because we haven't really had a lot of committees lately. And so we haven't really had us appoint them. And the transportation committee is a little bit of a different committee because that just kind of looks at bus stops really and bus requests. And that's usually run by the transportation people. So think on that. Let me know what y'all think. So are we okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Future of district staffing. So I think you were going to, yes, did you get a lot of people on that one? Probably nobody.
No, actually, I have 9 as of right now, and people have been emailing me over the last couple days, so.
Okay, so this committee, I think that if we want to, if you've got 9 people, again, if we were to do buckets and we were to do buckets similar, a couple staff members, an admin person, a couple parents, a couple board members, and a couple community members. Do you have, without giving us the people, do you have people that would fill those buckets? Obviously, the board, you wouldn't have the board, and the admin, you and Tracy get to Indian arm wrestle for that, or Indian finger thumb wrestle, or leg wrestle. But do you have some people that are strictly community member? Did you have some parents in that group? And do you have some from both towns?
I have some from both towns. I have no community members. I have some staff that are parents and live in the community and are teachers. So, I think I'm lacking community members.
Okay, I do have one from Dover that called me.
Okay.
And I know they're not a parent or staff member, so we do have one from Dover. So maybe we do the same thing we just talked about, and especially in Wardsboro, you all Wardsboroites, only you here, the other Wardsboroites over there. Maybe you can find a community member that we can bring in. Would everybody be good? Do you feel that's a good makeup of the committee like we did for the IB, the 2, 2, 2, 2, and 1? 9 people?
Yeah, if we can find 2 non-parent.
Well, we got one for Dover who volunteered, so we would just need somebody from Wardsboro. So do you think you can wrestle somebody up from Russell? No.
Yeah.
Kate or Dwight, do you think you can find us somebody?
From Wardsboro for the future planning.
Yeah, for the community, not for the parent or for the staff.
Yes, I bet I can.
Okay, so why don't we do that? Is everybody in agreement with that? Obviously, we did all the hard work on the IB one because we got the makeup. Okay, so why don't we plan on doing that? If everybody's good with that. Again, on that one.
Can we put something in real quick that can't have someone on both type thing?
Yeah, we'll do this, we'll do all the same.
Like not have the same people on both, on all.
Just so we
committees.
don't over.
Oh, yeah,
That's what I'm
no,
saying.
yeah, that's a good point too.
Yeah.
So you got lucky.
Oh, I already nodded at it. You
Oh.
didn't see me. Mike did though.
Yeah, but she didn't see it, did she?
Afraid of that.
Yeah, but Mike saw me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because we can also, in admin, we also have Bob. Because Bob's done a lot of stuff on organizations, and he's like the West River expert. So let's do all the same thing. Let's ask for different people to serve. But if somebody doesn't get picked from this group for the IB that wanted to do it, you know, maybe we can throw them in if we're lacking on the other committee. And it's interesting, the 3 people I talked to, they were all specific on which committee they want to be on. They didn't, and sometimes you'll have, I'll serve on any committee, so. And then, I think that's good. Future of the reserve funds, on this one, if everybody's okay with this is not something, I think, did any of you get any calls on anybody?
I think Bob wrote that one though.
That was me, Rich, and
Yeah.
I got only one person, that was Mr. Block.
Okay, so I think that one, if you folks are okay, I think I'd like to just put it together, a couple people. I'm gonna ask the treasurer for the district to be involved, because that's kind of his. I'm gonna ask Heidi from the SU to work with us on that one. We'll take our community member, and we'll get a board member for that. So that'll be a smaller committee. Is everybody okay with that?
Rich, would it make sense to have Greg on that too, in case you end up talking about possible ways to spend the money?
Yeah, if he's okay with it, he may not like us anymore after the boiler tonight.
I'm in, Rich. You did break me.
Not yet? Darn.
No.
Okay, buddy.
Harder than that, buddy.
Yeah, so that would make it an odd number too, Bob. So yeah, let's do that. So we will have the facilities and transportation manager, which makes sense. That's a lot of our, thank you, Bob. We'll have Bob. We have a community member, parent that volunteered. We'll get Heidi and we'll get Marco. Oh, actually, I don't need Bob. I'm sorry. We'll have because the board member will make the 5th one. So you got lucky, Bob.
Just cut me out, I see how it works, Rich.
Well, do you really want to go to another meeting?
I mean, I'm fine. I think Greg can handle my, and Heidi can handle my angle, I'm sure.
Yeah, and if we need something from you, you can be our consultant.
There you go.
But I talked to legislators on education recently about that, and it wasn't what we thought it was or what I was getting nervous about. So it may not be as bad as we thought. So
Yeah, it appeared in an earlier version, but it hasn't been in any of the current versions from House Ed, Senate Finance, or the governors. So yeah, you're probably not as pressing, but good to have the conversation probably.
yeah, just give us some guidelines for the future on our reserves. So I noticed legislature just threw something in on town trails that everybody thought was dead, and then these people really wanted to push it, and then it came back here. So you never until they adjourn the Kool-Aid Festival, you never know what's going to come up. I mean, there could be something overnight that all of a sudden they adopt it, one school district for the entire state. So I think we've killed the formation of the committees. We're a little over, guys, but we got a lot of good stuff done, a lot of input. Summer camp recommendation from our administration.
I got you more paper. I know how much you love it.
Well,
She's already got one.
okay.
These are for you guys.
So we don't have to pass these around, folks.
All right, so I talked to Greg, like you asked me to, about what was going on in the building. he is hoping to start the roof July 1, and so he said if you can push camp as far out as possible, that would be great. So, and then it works out like it's really best just to have it for 2 weeks, leaving that last week in July, which is a hard one. And I sent out a poll, and there was like 3 families, I shouldn't say parents, 3 families that could come to that last week anyways. So I would recommend that we do July 14th to the 25th, shift the time a little bit too to 9 a.m. That way, if the construction of the roof happens to eke in to the week of the 14th, they're already here and set up before campers are coming, so we're not having too much traffic in the entryway. Greg has asked me to change the entrance. We talked about all of those logistical things, though we're not using the main entrance. I gave you all some, I sent out a poll to families. We had 30 when I looked before I came, 31 families respond. 20 of them would love to see us have camp. 10 of those families can do both weeks. I asked Francesca because it escaped a sticky note. I was supposed to ask her on Friday, and so I asked her if she could poll her families. And I don't know if she got any feedback, but we could find out.
I actually did. I sent it out this morning. 10 people responded. It's not bad for a few hours out. Let's see. So 3 were yes, that they would do it. 4 were no, not interested. 3 are still unsure. The 2 week sections that were the options were 50-50. And 2/3 of those who responded would do both weeks. So that's as much as I got.
That's really hard math. 2/3 of those that responded positively is how many?
2/3 of the respondents said they would attend both weeks.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you just guys, I'm sorry, can the admin put that into numbers? So how many campers will we have each week? Roughly, based on what you guys have right now.
I would say between 20 and 30.
Okay. Just both weeks. So it may be like 10 this week, 10 next week, and 10 both weeks. It would be 20.
Right.
Okay.
And oftentimes it when it gets a little closer, because this is what happened last year, like we got everybody all signed up, and then literally I think it was the day before, Gianna got like 10 more campers, so it ended up being like 40 kids.
Well, I think if we're trying to do 1 counselor per 5 campers.
She's got plenty. Okay.
No, but I know, but we don't want to pay it. We don't want to pay for, if there's 40 people, that's 8 counselors, right? But if only 20 show up, we don't want to pay for 8 counselors. That doesn't make sense.
Well, we try to have a ratio, and that's the ratio that you want to keep it at. But the more, honestly, the more kids, and they are high schoolers. First of all, so we're giving them a good life experience because they're here with the little ones, and the more counselors that she has, the more activities that she can provide. And so that's the piece of it that, yes, it is a little bit more money, and you're right, it does seem like counterintuitive to have that many counselors for 20 kids, but it's definitely going to probably be more than 20 kids. But it's the more of the experiential learning that you can offer. So,
before we get too far along, I don't see a number in here. Cost.
So I said 125, and when I met with Janet, she was like,
"No, but how much is it going to cost the school?"
Oh, there was something in. I think Heidi provided you. And honest, I don't know here. There is a. I saw something.
It says River Valley School District Summer Camp located at Dover Elementary School, and the numbers are interesting. Because they don't.
Heidi, did you make that up?
Here, it is.
I created it when I was going over it with Tracy, or when we started talking about it. I took what was in our finance software system as to what all the expenses were associated with.
These are previous years, yeah.
Yeah. How much revenue had come in the last 3 years, yes.
So what's included in the total cost for the summer camp?
It's salaries, benefits, and supplies. That's really what it comes down to.
But not like utilities for the building?
No stipends if there was particular staff that were involved for a short time, or if they were involved the whole time. There's a number of staff that receive stipends. And then there's the director that gets paid. And then there was probably food included in that as well for feeding the students.
Mrs. Garland so the summer school program was also included. So her salary wasn't included in my budget so.
Okay,
So
hang on a
last
sec.
year, the
Hey,
summer school.
hang on a second. Do you have a number that you need to fund this program?
Heidi?
I mean, these are 3 weeks. So I would say, because last year was around 31,000, I would say for 2 weeks, you're probably looking at 20,000. Because you had 43 students that participated, but they weren't there every single week. So I'm guessing if you're servicing 20 to 30 kids, the staffing wise and materials, you're probably looking at 20, maybe a little bit more than that, 25,000.
We didn't get a budget presented on this, right?
No, because nobody has talked to me about this.
I haven't gotten anything presented to you.
That's
Hang on a second. Okay, this is for the board and the admin, okay? So just hang tight for a second. So you didn't get a budget presented to you? No. Okay.
I mean,
So
only
no,
what
no,
only
I'm just
what Heidi
I'm
gave
just
me.
asking
Yeah.
if you
I
have
I
a
just
number.
went on what Heidi
Okay,
had.
so
told
folks, let's do this. I think. Okay, this just you gotta know. Okay.
If somebody shares a budget with me, I'm happy to put numbers with it Rich, for the next meeting.
Yeah, I hear you. So why don't we do this? Is there anybody that doesn't agree that we should run the summer camp?
No.
Are you good with running a summer camp? Kate and Dwight?
The light's not on anymore, but I am good running the summer camp.
Okay. So why don't we do this? Why don't we agree to have a summer camp? Okay, but why don't we ask that, so which building is gonna be in charge of this? So it's gonna be here, okay. So can you give your stuff to?
So, can I just say,
no.
Janet did share some numbers with me, but.
Okay, but take the numbers and then you and Heidi
Okay.
go over them.
Okay.
And just get Francesca to get you their numbers so we
Okay.
can have a somewhat as an accurate account as we can.
Yeah. And
So can we get for next meeting, June 1st, we'll have a budget that we can look at, and then we'll approve the budget. And then we just need to know where you think you want to get the money from. We need to know how much you're going to be charging per student. And, again, it's interesting that over the last 3 years, the income has gone way down. So we do need to be, we're not asking for a lot.
All right.
So is everybody good with that? We start there. Okay, so the thing is you need to go to the administration and get that to them, and then that way they have all the numbers. Okay, I just have one quick question, and it's not, don't jump on me. Okay, this is for the administration and Bob. So we used to do summer school here, then they called it summer camp to take the stigma away from summer school. And it was a lot of stuff where IEPs required continual learning so that students didn't lose their progress. Right. And that's when I said the other day at a meeting that in a discussion, it sounded more like This was different than students with an IEP.
It is.
But we used to allow, when the students with the IEPs were here, we used to allow other students come in who maybe weren't identified as needing an IEP, but they wanted some extra work. And do we still do that for students on IEP that require services?
So
'Cause-
ESY, yes.
Okay.
And if that's any student on an
Okay.
IEP. In the years past, what they have done are those tier 2 students, which is there would be a teacher who volunteered to give to come in and give tier 2 accommodations in particularly literacy and math to a variety of students who scored below the 50th percentile on our last spring benchmark.
Okay.
I do not have a teacher here at Dover who wants to do that.
Okay, but are we?
It is not required. So tier
Okay.
2
Is-
is not required. ESY services for IEP students, that is required, and central office handles that.
Okay, but if we had tier 2 students, is there something that they could do with central office?
I don't believe so, but
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Bob, what happens with other tier 2 students in other districts?
I would say it varies. But like in Marlboro, they don't offer anything, I don't believe, in the summer, but in West River they do, but it is more of a activities-based camp. I think they've thread in a little bit of academics, but it isn't necessarily targeted to individual kids who quote unquote need it. It's just whoever's there, they sort of thread some stuff in. So that would be an unusual thing in our SU, but not a bad thing if you're able to pull that off.
Well, if it's needed, it's going to be taken care of, because if it's needed, it's required and we have to do it.
Correct. The IEP would be the only ones that would be required.
Okay, so I like this, overview thing, but is there a way to make it so that tier 2 students maybe could get some benefit from it?
No, I mean, yes, but there
Because-
wouldn't be, unless there's a Wardsboro staff member, like there wouldn't be a teacher, a licensed teacher providing the skill.
Okay, but it doesn't, I mean, we have assistants that work with students one-on-one, and they're not licensed.
Right.
So, I'm just trying.
Yeah, I see what you're saying,
So-
but targeted instruction does require.
I don't know if it would be really targeted, but it would just be something's better than nothing.
Right, and so that's why, like, when I got together with Janet and I said, like, these are all of these skills that we're working on here are things that, help that targeted instruction. So and I guess that's the difference between understanding. So like for me, tier 2 instruction means providing phonemic awareness to, a second grader who's struggling reading. Whereas, but story half an hour would help with that when they're being read to or being, or having, or writing a story or coming up with some kind of.
So D&D, there's like pockets of activities that these kids are doing where they are being instructed and they're learning while they play it. So yeah, it's not like, we could have a reading story time, we could do that periodically, and we do tend to like.
But you do it, yeah.
We do it on, throughout the day as needed, but we haven't set it up as like a scheduled thing.
So I guess then, because this came to us kind of late, did Dwight come back? No.
Not yet.
Because this came to us kind of late, I think we got it, whatever we can do for this year, we'll do for this year. But I know we have summer program future discussion. I think what we need to do with that is let's get by these other 2 groups, but let's plan on in the fall picking up a summer program discussion, because I would like to do, and maybe we can talk about it at the SU level, to offer some services, because I don't want to lose. I mean, one of the reasons we did really well in Dover for a long time was because we were doing the differential stuff, and we were bringing all them in. Yeah, but we were also, the summer program was open up. Stupid again. Was open to people that needed, not that weren't required but could use the extra help. So I think we probably should see if we can maybe do with a summer camp program for both buildings, do something that kind of encompasses both of those things. I mean, I like this treasure hunt with compasses and maps because they tell you that's something that you don't see a whole lot of with people anymore. So is everybody good with that? Yeah. Not many people use compasses. Everybody uses their phone. And it's funny because I can't tell you how many searches we've done for people that we tell them to shut their phone off because they got 2%, and we want them to be able to
Call out if they need to.
well, to be able to look at it, and
Yeah.
when they tell us they're one place and they're not there after we've been there, to tell, can you read those numbers to us again? So, Kate, are you good with that?
Yes.
Okay, you all three, you're good with that? Okay, we got a lot accomplished. So, summer future program, let's put that on the, let's see how this goes. Let's get this summer camp taken care of. And then we'll work on that for next year with both administrators and and if you're gonna have whoever's gonna run a summer camp. Okay.
Director over there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Website. Just real quickly.
I wanted,
Yeah.
I didn't have, I reached out to Mark, I'm waiting to hear back from him
Right.
and Derek. This information is helpful, all this, so can we
Okay.
table it till the next meeting?
No, that's what I was gonna ask you.
Okay, great.
If because again, I
didn't have all this information
yeah, and
either.
it wasn't so much the board had a vision for what the website was going to be, and Mark and Chad were kind of working on it, and they so lost Mike and I.
I was paying attention, but I didn't have this, and I wanted to have a talk. I wanted to get some feedback from
Yeah,
Mark. 'Cause
and
know he has it.
don't worry about the money yet. Let's just see what kind of stuff and if we still want to have that vision. And maybe we don't. So I think once you figure out what that is we can move that kind of forward.
Sounds good.
Okay. So is there anything else for old business? Gosh darn it.
Do you want some ice or something?
No, I don't know. I keep doing something wrong. Today's been a really bad day. If there's no other old business, summer retreat. Do we want to do another summer retreat? So I think because we're running a little late, but unfortunately, Bob has no basketball to watch tonight, so I don't want to keep him too much past his bedtime. Let's think about a date we can do a retreat at. Maybe Bob, we do it at central office or something again.
Sure can.
Okay, so think about a summer retreat. It's a couple, 2-3 hours, which you can just kind of talk about, just some general board stuff and where we want to go and how our committees are doing. Hopefully, some of these committees will be done.
Rich, do you want to have them give you not available times, like weeks they're out on vacation or whatever and traveling, and then you and I can sit with that list of when people are not available and pick a day that works?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So if everybody can
Makes sense to me too.
yeah, send to Bob when you're not available, when you're going away, when you're doing vacation.
Do we usually have it like?
Last year we did in September, I think. Wasn't it September, Bob?
I feel like school was back in session. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really late because we couldn't find a good date.
Is that doggone doodle poll he kept sending me?
Yes.
I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, that's technology, Mike.
Yeah, let's not do that again.
Yeah. So, Mike.
Be no doodling. No doodling, Mike.
No.
Okay. So we're working on summer retreat.
I was on that too. I didn't even need
Bob, I know you sent out a cabinet report for the last meeting. Do you have anything for us besides?
Well, just to give you the legislative update that the Senate bill on education reform is targeted to come out of the Senate. They're supposed to vote on it Wednesday. So it's unclear right now whether they'll actually vote on a bill. The Senate themselves have been pretty negative about their own bill. And so who knows if there'll be something that comes out of it. You still have the House bill and you still have the governor's initial proposal. So I met with regional legislators this morning, and they are talking about getting ready to name a conference committee, which would be 3 from House, 3 from Senate, to kind of take all those bills, if the Senate passes one, and try to bring it together. And because they're so far apart, when I asked, like, oh, what does that mean for how you try to get these together when they're so far apart, I got Emily Long and Emily Kornheiser both kind of like laughed, and they were like, yeah, we don't know. It's going to be interesting. And that they're talking about adjournment in a few weeks as well. So like, it's a very tight window. It's a lot of unknowns. It's distinctly possible that nothing comes out of it this year. And that they may have just a miscellaneous ed bill with some minor tweaks, which may include a cell phone component or ban on schools, but some other random stuff. And then, yeah, we might be looking at next year before any changes occur. But the governor obviously was pressed to have quicker stuff coming. So who knows? The only other piece, the yield bill is on the governor's desk. And the governor has signaled that he is going to release some surplus funds and some general funds into the ed fund to ensure that tax rates for Vermonters do not go above a 1% increase, which sounds awesome on paper. And I think it's something that will certainly gain some political hay for him. However, it's just like if you spend your all your fund balance money to pay down a tax rate, the next year you comes back and it bites you, right? It's like a same kind of a thing. So if that happens, it politically might feel good in the moment when you get your tax bills this August. However, it could mean some significant challenges for budgeting for FY27. So just want to alert you to that. There's a lot of conversation about that right now. And yeah, I think that's all that I have. We are conducting interviews Friday for the new director of student services to replace Stephanie, who is leaving the end of the school year. And I'll update you guys as that progresses as well. So that's my report. I'm happy to take any questions.
You all got any questions for Bob? Meredith, you also?
I'm good.
Kate?
I'm good, thank you, Bob.
Cool, Bob. Thank you, Bob.
Yep.
Principals updates. We do have the 2 graduation dates, June 9th and June 11th at the town hall in Wardsboro and at the school in Dover. It's tradition to be at the town hall. I'll tell you that story sometime. It's really funny. Mary, I'm sorry, the away team, Francesca.
Yeah, let's see. We are still in the hiring process. We did hire a math interventionist. And that person was one of our classroom teachers. So we also hired a classroom teacher. So we're doing pretty well with that. We are still looking for a librarian. So that's that. I just returned from a lovely weekend with 6th graders on their end of the year field trip. I'm exhausted because 6th graders don't sleep, I don't think. And we ended our weekend at Six Flags. And we actually were there till it closed. So I'm very tired. But it was fun. They had a really good time. Let's see, we have our STEAM open house on Thursday from 5:30 to 6. People can just stop by. They don't have to stay the whole time, but we've got a lot of cool projects going on. And yeah, that's about it. Lots of field trips and graduation to get ready for.
Did you keep lunch down on the roller coaster?
Actually, I had a wonderful parent come with us who went on all the roller coasters with the kids. And yes, they did. We didn't let them eat right away.
No, I meant you specifically.
I don't do roller coasters. I do like bumper cars and stuff like that.
Take your aggression out.
Actually, the kids ganged up on me, so it's all good.
No, don't forget. Some of them don't have to graduate this year. They can come back next year.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Okay.
I got him back.
Okay. Go ahead, Teresa.
So we are in the middle of the hiring process too. We have one of the most dynamic PE and health teachers, so amazing. Eli and Mike helped me get a great candidate for that, so I'm super excited for that. We did have an interview for a counselor. Meredith helped me with that. She's gonna come and shadow to see if she's a good fit. Let's see. Our electric bus came and went. That was a thing. Oh, Mr. Warner. It came, they dropped it off, and it got towed back.
How did it get here so
The
quick?
trailer didn't even make it home. We turned the truck and trailer around to come pick it back up.
I thought,
Yeah,
where's Dwight?
he's gone.
Dwight!
I sat in it.
What
Yeah,
if-
hold on. It's coming through as clear as you think on Zoom. So
Oh no, I was whispering on purpose.
No, I heard about our electric bus. I want to pick on Dwight a little.
he's not on right now, but
I noticed Greg didn't say anything either about it.
You didn't ask.
I didn't know.
That's why I had to tell you.
Are we done?
I thought maybe Mike was gonna bring it up.
Mike.
I've had a
I
busy
can't believe
week.
you
I'm
didn't
sorry.
call me.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Put on the back burner, brother.
Anywho, it's gone out for repairs. It will be back sometime, right, Greg?
Correct. Yes. Yes.
They also missed the drop down chains, which were in the spec, and so it was going back either way. But they did take it for a quick test drive, and there was something was glitching in the electronics, which it's all electronics, and so they had to stop. They went to the Eastover Firehouse, and by the time they came back up Dover Hill, they stopped at Holland Road and pulled over there so that they could unplug and reboot the 12-volt power system. And so then he called the driver and had him come pick it up.
Yes.
Wow, what an awesome start. Hey, Chris Mays, did you get that?
Oh, good grief.
Yes, I did.
Cool. Hey, give Greg a call at Central Office tomorrow if you want more information on that one.
Anywho, let's see. I want to shout out to our amazing Dover School Club, who gave the teachers and staff here one of the most amazing teacher appreciation weeks. They always do such a fabulous thing, from treats every day to like a fabulous luncheon. So that was super lovely. We have student-led conferences this Wednesday, and we have about 97% of children signed up. So that's like, I think we have like 4 kids that haven't signed up yet, but it could be all of them.
I have 2 of them.
Oh, that's okay. You're all right. We didn't count you. We didn't count you. Extenuating circumstances. But I think that is all.
Okay, thank you, Tracy.
Welcome.
So, Francesca, I forgot to ask you and Tracy. So, are you both then with if these hires all make it through everything, then we're all fully staffed?
No librarian.
No librarian.
Librarian. We have a lead, but we'll see how that all pans out.
Okay. So that's better than we've been a lot in the past. So, okay, cool. Any questions from Kate? You have any questions for either of the principals?
thank you.
You folks here, any questions?
All good.
Okay, you guys got off the hook easy tonight. Approved financials. Yay! This was a big one. Chris, write this number down right. Don't mess up on it, buddy. Okay, somebody want to make a motion to approve financials?
Nope, that's
Oh, it's right here. Somebody wants it.
I'd make a motion to approve pay order 57 in the amount of $15,950.26.
Do we have a second to that?
Second that.
Thank you, Mike. So Eli moved for pay order 57 in the amount of $15,950.26, and Mike seconded. Is there any discussion? I would just say, if Heidi's still here, Heidi, if all of them could be that big, we would be really happy.
Try that for you, Rich, but
Okay.
I can't promise anything.
I hear you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is consent agenda. We have the minutes of the 5/5/25 meeting. Any comments? Anybody have anything good, bad, or indifferent?
Thanks. Meredith?
Are you still doing it?
Yep.
Jeez. And I just want to make a note that the financials were not the same without Kate doing it. Eli did a fine job, but Kate does it a little better.
Wow.
Just saying.
So true.
That's why I come here.
There you go, Kate. You better jump on it next time.
We didn't practice.
So correspondence, I only had the one letter from Janet. Janet? Just from you. So Janet wrote us all a letter. We will put it in as part of the minutes, if you would just attach it to the minutes.
Do I have it?
I have it if you
That
don't.
was early. Yeah.
No, I think you sent it on the, I forget what date.
I think it was the day after the last meeting.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
May 6th. Okay, I think we've covered everything in this meeting.
Are we doing the executive session tonight?
Yeah, let me just finish up with correspondence. That's all I have. Meredith, or you guys don't have any other? You're Meredith, I'm sorry. Bob, you got anything else for us?
I do not.
Okay, so I think we have an executive session. I was hoping Dwight was gonna be here, but he isn't. And we are running a little bit late, but this can't wait, can it, Bob, or can it wait till next meeting?
I mean, I think we should go into executive session if you want to, if once people have a quick conversation, if they decide they want to defer until Dwight is back, then you could wait till next meeting.
Okay, so we're gonna have an executive session for contractual personnel?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two motions we gotta make. Would somebody like to make them, please? They're on your agenda.
I move to make a specific finding that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or a person involved at a substantial disadvantage.
Is there a second to Kate's motion?
I'll second.
Meredith seconds it. Is there any discussion? Wow, see now, if everybody would just be that big all the time, I could read it with my glasses. All those in favor say aye.
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 Appears to be unanimous decision in the affirmative. Kate?
I move to enter an executive session for the purpose of discussing contracts under 1 VSA 313A1A.
And what time is it?
The time is
7:43.
7:43. Okay, so we'll make that motion 7:43. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Meredith seconded that one. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Appears to again be another unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. So folks, we're gonna Okay, so we're coming out of executive session. I have like 8:32. Close enough. And so Bob, you'll bring a couple contracts for us at next meeting to review and approve.
You got it.
Okay. So then I think our next item is the next meeting is in Wardsboro on June 2nd at Wardsboro, 6 p.m. There is Wyndham Central meets on May 28th, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock at Leland Gray.
Leland Gray, center of the universe, folks. So we will be
And
there.
on Zoom, for those who
So-
don't,
So,
universities are at home.
Kate, can you make that? Okay, Kate, do me a favor if you don't mind. Can you just send Dwight an email confirming he's going to be there live or on TV, but not like in transit or anything?
And we have an alternate if Dwight can't make it, right? That we can reach directly out to the alternate.
That's me.
Are you around that day?
28?
Yeah, it's the last Wednesday of the month. Just in case Dwight doesn't come. And you can still go too. I mean, I know you came to a couple anyway, so you keep up with what's going on.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so yeah, we've got Eli if we need him.
Okay.
So just if Dwight can't make it, just let us know so Eli knows he may go live too. So I think there's nothing else, guys and girls. We got a lot done. I know it was a couple and a half hours, but I think we got some committees set up. I think, a lot of good stuff going on. Mary, see how well we do with you here. It's all because of you.
I'll carry it.
Seriously. So we're looking for that most important motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
What time is it?
You guys have a great night.
8:34?
Thank you.
8:35. Thank you, everybody.